Welcome back, everyone, to the latest installment of our MAFS section of our podcast. Tonight, we're going to be discussing all things commitment ceremony. We are your hosts. I am Paige.
I'm Moira.
And I'm Emma.
So, girls, commitment ceremony. There was a lot going on there, wasn't there?
Yeah, some boring bits and predictable bits and some not so predictable bits.
Exactly. Did I not call it? Did I not call it that Tim was going to come back?
You did. But you know what? Before we get into it, I am really annoyed by all the spoiler alerts out there on social media at the moment.
Yeah.
And you sent us, I don't know what podcast it was, but some chick was talking to one of Tim's ex-friends, because they're no longer friends. And that kind of indicated that he actually was full of shit, because he said that Tim didn't come back and he came back for this. So I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too much, but you can't buy into everything you see in social media or everything you hear.
Right. Because it's on Facebook doesn't mean that it's true.
That's right. Plus, I don't like the spoiler alerts. I just prefer to talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that was pretty chaotic, I thought, when they're all sitting around and John's doing his introduction to the whole thing. Door opens and the master villain himself walks in.
And I just say, though, when he walked in like how I walk when I am busting for a wee, clenched together, like running just from my knees down. That was me running for the toilet. I could totally relate to him running in like that.
Yeah, but
I
don't
that's
think
how I
you
look
needed to
running
pee,
to the
though.
toilet.
Yeah, he does walk like he has clenched cheeks, doesn't he?
It was like they had just gone, okay, quick, run. They've started.
You know why? Because his butt was puckering because he knew he was going to get a working out. That's for sure.
He was ready for it. So let's talk about the boring, predictable couples. So we had Paul and Karina.
Yeah, they're loved up.
They're gorgeous
They're
as ever.
happy.
That's right.
I don't think
Boring.
there's any dramas there whatsoever. I know they are. They're a bit boring. They're a bit predictable.
I love it, but they're boring.
They're pretty to look at. You know what I like about Paul and Billy is that they were both genuine when Katie walked in, and they both kind of checked in with her, and just like, even if it was like a silent "Are you okay?" or wink or whatever, I liked that. That was gentlemanly.
And then Jeff at the end was like, you're going to get a whole lot of DMs coming your way.
Rhea and Jeff as well. They're kind of all loved up as well. I still don't believe that they haven't shagged and that they're taking it easy. I reckon they're going at it like rabbits.
But I reckon that by the next, there's a commitment ceremony every week?
Yes.
So I reckon by next week they will have. And it'll be interesting to see if it has fizzled out, because that's what she's scared of, is that once they do it, it'll fizzle.
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of I'm actually starting to want to talk to her and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because we don't really know.
Level, like a whole person level, get to know her on that level.
Because we don't actually know. They've just claimed that it fizzled out after they were like sexual after a few times. So either A, the sex is bad, or B, they just stopped talking once they started having sexual relations.
Well,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Yeah.
On the commitment ceremony couch last night that she had stayed over at his house a couple of times and then it fizzled out.
Maybe she doesn't make breakfast in the next day. Maybe that's the key. Bacon and eggs.
Who was the next couple?
So the next was Ash and Jake.
Oh, that's right. And
Billy was ready to go, wasn't he? He was sitting on the edge of his seat, ready to just pipe in the moment Jake said something, wasn't he?
Yeah. I loved how the producer said, are you going to, sit tight, or are you going to say something? And he's like, what makes you think, that you know anything about me that I would sit back and not say anything, or something like that? That answer is easy, and it's a no.
He's got her back.
Yeah. I didn't like how Mel said something like him saying all those things is a cop out.
You have
Yeah,
responsibility
what
for
is
what comes out of your mouth, essentially.
yeah.
That's right. And she said it's a cop out. And I don't actually think it is. I think that humor, I know myself, but I think that humor for a lot of people is a coping mechanism.
Yes.
And I don't think that was right that she said that.
I
No,
agree that
exactly.
he is responsible for what comes out of his mouth. I think, however, they went a bit hard. I think he was just being really in jest, trying to make it, like we said, light of the situation, trying to make Ashley feel comfortable and keeping that banter going because that seems to be their language. That's how they talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how they communicate. So I do think that
Absolutely.
some of it was blown a bit out of proportion. I do think he was embarrassed. And I think that Ashley recoiled a bit. I think she was a bit, this was just said in jest in the moment. And now it's blowing up into something way
Now
bigger than what it ever needed to be, intended to be,
Yeah.
wanted to be.
Yeah. I think as she had a couple of drinks and she got it
Mel
over
or Ashley?
dramatized everything. No, Ashley. Ashley. In the moment when he was judging,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Jake was,
Jake.
doing the judging and the comments,
Yeah.
I think she was definitely over dramatizing it. But also, that's on her. She could have said when he said the first comment, hang on, I don't like
Yeah.
this, or this isn't right. Let's just pull it up. So that was her responsibility to then say, look, this isn't a joking matter. Let's just not talk about this. And it wouldn't have got that far.
Exactly. Yeah. At the end, where she was like, well, I want to stay, because he wrote leave. And she was like, well, I want to stay and I want you to try and open up to me more. And I was like, is there a little bit of gaslight undertone going there? Because he has basically said this. I think that everyone here is beautiful. And what I was saying to Ash was in jest. By no means did I mean any of it. And then she's just turned around and said, well, I want you to open up to me. And how are you going to open up to a person that's gone behind your back? Openly behind your back.
I do think that she could have, if she didn't in the moment, I think she needed to let it digest what he had said, maybe. And then I think she could have the next day gone, hey, I know that we have a bit of banter. That's probably pushing it a bit too far for me, though. Like, I know you were just trying to make light, and that's pretty much what it was. It did seem to be a bit of a one-off given her reaction.
Yeah. But did you guys watch the previews of the next couple of episodes? You know how it gives like a teaser at the end, and one person supposedly leaves next week.
Yes.
I think it's Jake.
Yeah, me too.
Just from like the look of those legs. I think it's Jake. I think it's Jake. Ashley's still got to pick a villain every week. Well, I have been. So she's still kind of my villain at the moment. I think she needs to redeem herself. She kind of did. She tried to. She told him what she did, but the damage is already done.
I mean, you're on a reality TV show. It's gonna come out, so you may as well own up to it in the moment. Hey.
Yeah, that's right.
But then the day was saved with Jamie and Dave coming up next on the couch. God, I love these two. I just love them.
Too. I loved it when going back to Tim. I loved it when Tim walked in and Jamie was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I'm getting all flustered now.
She listens really attentively too. I appreciate that in a person as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what one of the things that Dave said was that she listens and she hears. So she's not just listening for the sake of listening. She listens to hear what you're actually saying.
And she's got my back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he say that about her or was it the other way around?
Well, I said it about each other. She was his own backpack.
Probably literally because she's always hanging off him. And she's tiny compared to him.
Yeah. It's very cute. I think they're lovely.
Yeah, I really enjoy them as a couple.
But again, they're kind of boring because no dramas.
Next. So then we had Sierra and Billy.
Another boring couple.
Another predictable, lovely, boring couple.
Yeah. I feel like this couple, out of all the couples, might go the distance. I know that's a hard call because it's right at the beginning. Paige has obviously already been
Paige has been
snooping
reading
on
socials.
That's why I don't like spoiler alerts, Paige.
Don't read.
Let me have my innocent thoughts.
Oh, there's a scandal brewing. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, somebody cheating. Is that something I heard?
I
Read?
don't know. I'm not gonna drop any more tea here.
It just hurts my brain trying to figure out like all the scandals.
You can't we just do one at a
Oh.
time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
Yeah, well, look, they seem to have each other's backs. They seem to be really supportive of each other, and I think they're kind of cute together. So, yeah, I'm here for them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So then we had Jackie and Ryan. Oh my God. These two. I'm so glad John was like, oh, you guys are insufferable. You guys were so hard to match, and now you're whinging because she don't want to cook and he wants a cold room. And that is the question of why did you put us together? Because clearly those two things don't align.
I think when John said those things are really superficial, that just sums Jackie up. I just find her so superficial.
Oh my God.
And
Can I just say, did you see she had tissues at the start? Like she sat on the couch with tissues, and I was like, "Don't you dare! Don't
Don't bring out the crocodiles tonight."
Do you think when I don't know who it was that pulled her up and they said, "Why are you laughing?" Do you think she was trying to muster up some tears?
Yeah.
Do you think that's what her?
I think if you let her go a bit longer, she would have crocodile teared for sure.
Yeah. I think that's how she musters up her tears, because she like squints her eyes and gets this like the whole ET face that's been going around on socials. I didn't call that. I've just seen it. Like, have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
I have.
It's yeah. Mm-hmm. ET with a that's her.
But I mean, they sat down in the cars and it was like shots fired at John.
Yeah.
He's worried that someone won't cook with him, and she's worried that he's not listening to her. He's putting the aircon on too cold. He's leaving his clothes lying around. He's not closing the bathroom door. And they're the fundamental issues. And he's like, you guys are not easy.
Are they fundamental? Are they actually fundamental? I liked how he pulled him up on that.
But then he pulled them out the very next sentence. It was, oh, but we get along. We've got so much in common and this and that.
So focus
again,
on that.
I think it's it's editing, and I think maybe they might be a couple that actually get along really well and just picked out those couple of little bits.
Yeah.
And gone, okay, let's like zone in on
trick
that.
them. Yeah, red herring.
Yeah. And I mean, again, that comes down to editing with all of the couples. So, you know, it could be.
I just had a moment. Did you see it in the coming up next episode? It was showing you how all the couples were starting to get close together. And it was the women's turn to initiate all that. And so it shot to Jackie sitting on the bed, and she said, all you have to do is admit that you said the wrong thing and that I'm beautiful. And he said, well, then I'd be lying. Something along those lines. And I was like, oh,
Again, I think yeah. No. I think that's all editing. I don't think that's related to what she said, but we'll see. What I did think, before we go on to any more couples or talk about anything, what I thought was, how weird would it be, or how good, I don't know, you choose, if life was like that, right? If at the end of every week, you and your partner got together and said whether you wanted to stay or leave, like at the end of every week, what would life be like? There would be a lot of short-lived relationships, because if you had a really shitty week, you'd be like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then it comes down to the whole stay or leave. And if one of you puts stay and the other one puts leave, then you've got to stay together for another week anyway.
There would be a lot of spitefulness happening there. No, you can stay with me.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
And then you learn to love each other.
And I want you to suffer.
That's right.
I was just thinking that when I saw the stay leave, I was like, Sometimes I think there's a lot of couples out there that would like to do that.
That would be pretty funny. And the longer you're in it, the more you're like, oh, this again. You still here?
You still here? Now, after those two, who was on the couch next?
Tony and Morena.
Yes.
Her name wrong.
I
He
don't
did
think he
initially, but
did.
he did. He
Did
initially
he?
did say Mariana or whatever it was, but then
Oh,
corrected himself very quickly and said Morena.
and then she pulled him up. You said Mariana.
Yeah, but I think it was just a Freudian slip. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
it meant anything. I don't know.
exactly. Look, I think that he's still trying to get across the point that she does a lot of talking, which that's just in her nature. A lot of Italians talk and talk and talk, and they could talk with a mouthful of cement 60 leagues under the sea, but he can't get his voice out there. And she's saying, just talk to me. He's like, well, every time I try to
He
talk
does.
to you, you talk over the top of me.
I know. And that was a perfect example. She cut him off when he was trying to explain something. And even the relationship experts saw that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they didn't pull her up more.
Yeah.
That would have been the time. They kind of touched on it, but they definitely needed to go, well, he was just trying to talk. You need to let him
Yeah.
say what he wants.
Yeah.
But I think he still seems fairly happy, or maybe he's just too laid back and he's just going to go with the flow.
But is that really the tales of a good relationship?
No,
Allowing someone to just do what they want just because you're trying to be happy? It's not really being happy, is it?
no. Yeah, so I don't know if there's much more about Tony and Morena other than she talks a lot and is
He's
very
not
patient.
communicating and she keeps interrupting him. It's a perfect match.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But they're
Oh,
both really good looking people, so if it doesn't work out, I'm sure they'll have no issue
I feel like
finding
Exactly.
someone.
so I'm really interested actually. Are they locked in the apartment block or can they go out and play? I know we saw Billy
Yeah, no.
Serena.
at the
No,
pet
is
shop,
it
but are
Sienna?
they allowed to like go out and play?
Yeah,
Because
they're
I
allowed to go
feel
out.
like Tony and Morena need to go to like a day club, like
Yeah.
poolside, like, and she just needs to let loose and do her thing, and he just needs to see her in action.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like
Agreed.
he is
Yeah,
still young at heart, and so is she, and I think that would really
yeah.
bond them.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to leave the apartment block and they can go on day trips to different places. They just can't talk to the media and they can't
Okay,
tell their friends about what's going on unless
fair
it's
enough.
something really bad. They just can't let anything spill out into the public until it's finished and it's being aired. So that they can go on dates with each other. Like if the boys wanted to go out for a beer, they could meet up and go for a beer.
So why do they not show any of that? I like any
wonder.
of their date. I was
Because-
under the impression that one of them in last week's episode was like, well, I'm stuck here in
Adrian.
this, room with you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, maybe they really
That's what
are
made me
confined
ask.
quarters.
Well, I think that maybe it was more of a I'm stuck here in this room with you, as in when they're not out and about, he doesn't have any other room to go to. Like that's where they sleep, that's where they stay. Like that's their house environment. So he can't just go to another room. He's stuck there with her.
Oh my gosh, just talking about stuck in a room. So
We're going to talk about the
how
escape room that you pushed me around in and fed me to the demon person that came in.
I did not. I just kind of pushed you out of the way so I could run.
Let's
There's
save
nothing wrong with
myself.
that. No, Jackie has a whole second bedroom as her closet. Like that is very generous.
Yes. Right.
I know.
My goodness.
I wonder if there's a TV in that room.
Yeah.
No, I can't stand that woman. She
Gosh.
hurts my eyes and hurts my ears.
I'm sure
I
she's
don't
lovely
know.
off camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe she's trying to
Maybe.
get like a
Look, yeah.
sponsorship with Kleenex or something. Who knows? Maybe there's an ulterior motive to the crying.
So from Morena and Tony, then we went to Afina and
You can do it. I believe in you. You got this.
what the hell's his name? The dude with the mouthful of teeth.
Athena and Adrian. Hey.
Afina. Yes. So I don't think that they're going to go the distance. I think that he's completely checked out. I remember what I was going to say about Jackie and
back.
Ryan.
Go for it.
So when they were sitting on the couch, the other couples were like, "Are you sharing a bed?" And they were
Billy
like,
asked.
"Yeah." I was like, hang on a second. But you don't like each other, but you'll share a bed together, even though there's another bedroom.
I wanted to know if they're doing the deed.
I don't think they've done the deed.
I don't know. They were very snuggly at the end of that couch. Like when they went back and sat on the couch.
That's why I'm wondering whether they're just showing all the, horrible bits, but they're actually really getting along. That's what I'm thinking.
The editing
Yeah.
gods. Afina and Adrian. I really don't think that they're going to last. I think that he has completely checked out of the whole situation. He's really only there just to be there, I think. That's my gut feeling.
What's your
Your
opinion, Moira?
thoughts?
I think he's saying all the right things. And I do wish sometimes that they did have like a big brother cam. So you could see how they interact and talk with each other when they don't feel like they're on camera. I feel like a lot of it is very camera frontage because it's actually happened really fast for them. And I think, what is this, their second week together, or like
Yeah, I think it's
only
only been 2 weeks.
living together.
Maybe they're only just going into their second week together, and it's all very much in front of the cameras. And I think that his demeanor, his body language completely changed when John asked him, so let's delve into that. So why don't you want to date someone with a kid? And he took his arm from around her, and he almost like twisted his body away from her. And I just found that really interesting. And his response was just his response. That's fair enough. And I thought, yeah, this is just a bit of fun. This is just a bit of lust. I don't know that I see those two going together, because I feel like for him that is a fundamental non-negotiable thing for him. And I get that some exes can pose a lot of issues for new partners. I get that. So maybe he's just had a bad experience or heard through the grapevine of a bad experience, and that's why he's like, no, I want to do this fresh and new with someone. And that's his prerogative to do so. That I don't have any issues with that. I did really love, however, when he almost self-reflected on the couch and was like, I thought about the things that I asked for. I asked for someone authentic, and she's authentic. I asked for someone who loves, and there's no higher love than a mother's love. I really appreciated his self-reflection and what he asked for from this experience, and how she fit into that. So I actually really enjoyed that side of him.
Yeah, I actually
I
don't mind him. I definitely think it's a lot of lust. I don't think there's any love there, and I don't think it will develop, unfortunately. But I'm sure that they'll have a lot of fun times while they're in there.
Absolutely. And if nothing else, I guess it's just really preparing them for another relationship, and it really helps them decide what they want and what they don't want, what are the non-negotiables and the true non-negotiables by the end of it.
That's right. This experiment for all the couples, if they were to do it properly, even if they weren't to continue on after the experiment, it is a massive learning opportunity for them.
Yeah,
to find,
agree.
Like, for both parties to find out what they initially thought, is that what they still think about relationships themselves. So I think that they will both learn and grow from the experience, even if they are just in lust.
After our lovely Alfina and Adrian, we have the notorious Tim and the beautiful
dirty
Katie.
old Tim. And the beautiful Katie.
Well, she is beautiful. She really is. And I really love
the necklace.
She's got so many of those necklaces. Really? I thought it was beautiful. But I really love the fact how when she was talking and he's like, Katie, I've always said, she goes, I'm not finished talking. I was like, yes, queen, yes.
It was, she did not even look at him. She did not even raise her voice. She just went, I'm not done.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. It's
talking.
that one finger, so much power.
Yeah.
I loved that she found her voice in that moment.
Yes. Agreed.
I think
so agreed.
I know. I think she had a week to stew over how horrible he'd been to her.
Yeah.
And how cheated she was in the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd just had enough.
Mm-hmm.
When she did do that, I'm not finished. and it flipped to John, I swear he was holding back a smile or a smirk. I was just like, oh, that's a bit cheeky there. He was holding his composure, but I think it was creeping in.
Oh, well, I think it was because of the whole, as she's done a complete 360 from where she was at the dinner party. And I
Yes.
liked that John pointed out the fact that they were perfect flags for gaslighting.
Absolutely.
And deflect, he used the word deflecting as well.
He
Yeah.
did. When you sat there and you talked
Mhm.
at her, that was gaslighting 101. And it was
Yeah.
almost like Tim, I'm sure someone would have said that to him before, you're gaslighting.
Yeah.
But to have, and at that moment, I was like, I'm so glad there is a man on that panel, because he would have just,
Mhm.
if a woman had said that, he would have just rolled his eyes and not listened. The fact that a man
Literally.
is going, you're talking at her and you are gaslighting her.
Mhm.
That came from a man. I was just like, thank God someone has actually
Yeah.
stood up to him and gone, listen, mate, it's not on. And if you want to
That's
keep
right.
doing that,
No.
if you want to keep crossing that bridge and gaslighting everyone, you will end up the same way you are now.
That's right.
I think
And he
that's
did,
the
yeah.
issue now. He's done a lot of self-image damage. That's a mouthful.
It's
And
interesting because that's the mirror for him, right?
Mm.
Is he's like, I don't understand why I'm single. And it's like, well, hold on. You've just had someone sit there and go, you talk at women, you gaslight women, you deflect when it's not something you don't want to talk about. And then you sit there and you blame them and say, well, hold on, you just broke my trust. But what completely broke my heart was then watching Katie turn on herself and completely blame herself
Yes.
for the result of the relationship going wrong.
Literally pointed it out step by step of what he did to her during that dinner party and was like, this is not okay.
No, and I don't think he's going to try and improve himself. I just think he's that type of person. I don't think he's going to walk away from this learning any lessons or trying to become a better person. I think he's
They've
going
already said
to,
that he's on the run, so he's taken down
yeah,
his social medias. Like,
yeah,
he's not
but
doing
a lot
anything
of
better.
people can say a lot of horrible things on social media.
True.
So
Very true.
I don't blame him for doing that.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
good to have radio silence for a little while.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he's done the damage. He's going to find it really hard to find a relationship in the near future.
He hasn't learned, because at the end of that,
Mm.
and I'm assuming it was the end of that conversation, editing again, he had said, I just don't understand why it's all me, why it's been put all on me. And that's why John was like, let's just move it along, because clearly you're not
Yeah.
absorbing anything that you're being told and you still think it's
Yeah.
her fault. Because
Yeah.
how dare this beautiful human with such a giving, loving heart be on her emails on your honeymoon? I'm sorry.
You've basically said to her, I don't like you. I don't find you attractive. Sorry, not that I don't like you.
Should
I
I
don't
come
find you
on the
attractive.
honeymoon? I don't have a spark. And then completely ignore on the honeymoon.
Yeah. I didn't come on my honeymoon to go to work on emails. Well, you kind of asked whether or not you should come anyway because you didn't have that spark and you didn't find her attractive. So, yeah, I'd be finding better things to do with my time as well.
Yeah.
That's right. And let's be honest, an hour out of the day for a CEO of a company, that's realistic. I mean, that's being generous. Like,
let the woman hustle.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
I'm
He
sorry,
didn't even know what she did for crust. Like, there was no conversation around that from what we saw in the editing.
Again.
There was no conversation from either parties to say, hey, Katie, what do you do for a living? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? Blah, blah, blah. There was no real demonstration from Katie either.
The thought did cross my mind, though, that perhaps behind closed doors, he actually was asking those questions. And maybe she has not been in a relationship for so long. She doesn't know how to open up, or maybe her communication style isn't, that great. That did cross my mind.
I think it also comes down to trying to understand each other first, not just lumping them into a box and leaving them there again with the whole spark thing. He put her in that box and he wasn't going to get her out of it. So she had no way of getting out of that no spark box either because he wasn't entertaining the idea.
No.
I don't know that I would blame her maybe not being in a relationship for so long for her inability to speak. She's a pretty impressive woman just from what we've seen and been told of her. And I dare say she could hold herself in a room full of people as a CEO of a business and multiple businesses. And this is what annoyed me. He almost struggled to put his arm around her. She asked for a kiss on the cheek while they're cutting their wedding cake. And the moment he walked in that room to greet everyone when they all met for that dinner, he was kissing everybody on the cheek. And I was like, but you couldn't muster up the strength to give her a little peck on the cheek for a photo on your wedding day.
Exactly. Physically recoiled when she gave him a hug. Like, oh, maybe not that close. Like, mate.
He just to me, I take him as, so when I went to my year 12 formal, my date, we weren't an item, but we were friends. My date, when he put his arm around me for photos, it wasn't actually touching me. It was quite a distance away, but for the photo, it may have looked like he had his arm on my shoulder, but he wasn't touching me, like nowhere near me.
Keanu Reeves doesn't touch women.
A lot of people, like, they put their hands, the guys, they all say, you'll never see me putting my arm around a woman. I always have my hands at the front.
I just didn't like it. It brought back damaging memories.
Oh.
Did you want him to be your boyfriend?
No, not that guy.
But you're still offended he wouldn't touch you. I don't want you, but I want you to touch me.
That's right. He was a very good badminton partner, though. I give him kudos to that.
So do we want to talk about the coming next? It was just the snippets of what's to come next that's really getting me going. So all the ladies, I guess, are putting on a fantasy. That's what it was. It was their fantasies.
Yeah.
What are your fantasies? And let's play it out. So the women get to go first. So I'm intrigued to see, because there was a lot of them just going undie lingerie shopping.
Yes. Yeah.
So excited to see what Ashley and Jake's were, because I just imagine like Star Wars themed or something. Like let's go get our like laser beams and like, you know, duke it out.
I understand
really freaking cute though.
Lightsabers.
Yeah.
I understand why they have that, I guess, to get couples closer together that way, not just intellectually. But for those couples that haven't had any contact or aren't sexually attracted to each other, I would find that really hard. And I feel like it's going to be awkward to watch.
That's what it's for. That's what the whole fantasy week is about, is to try and stimulate that chemistry to get you to the next step. So if you're not even harboring any sorts of liking emotions towards someone, then you go in for your hugs, and you be sultry with your hugging, or just contact time, and then you move it to the next step, which is the kissing and making out, and that sort of contact again. And then the next step is your sexy seductress lingerie, getting them in the mood, because you've already built that sexual chemistry.
Who do you think's really going to struggle with that?
Ashley and Jake.
Yeah.
I think, and also Tony and Morena.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to struggle with it. Because I reckon the others have already done it or are very close to doing it. So
I do find Jackie and Ryan, I do think they will have a really awkward moment.
Yeah.
They just look awkward to me.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Who knows? They could be there fiddling with each other's parts every night. We don't know.
Well, that's right.
And that could all be behind the scenes stuff. I think it's going to be horribly awkward. And
it's the whole idea.
And you're here for it.
I'll kind of be watching like this.
Yeah. You're peering through spreaded fingers.
Yeah, exactly. So, everyone, that is our recap of the commitment ceremony. Please do stay tuned to find out what happens in the next couple of episodes, all the way up to the exclusive, elusive dinner party, which I'm sure there's bound to be more drama. Don't forget to like and follow us on all of the socials. Thank you for spending your time with us. I am Paige.
I'm Moira.
And I'm Emma.
And you've been listening to What She Said. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so I reckon someone's fantasies will be like double enders or I don't think they'll show that though.
There, and this is the reason, Jackie, why there are TVs in the bedroom.
That's right.
We
I
find the
wonder.
answer for you. Why is our TV in the bedroom? Wait till week 3.
You know, that's right. You know what I do imagine though, and it's kind of weird, is obviously they've got people in there filming. I don't know whether there's someone there filming all the time or whether they just leave cameras.
Yeah.
But there's like them.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other person goes, put your hand on their shoulder or on their boob or this and that. Like some sort of sex guru giving them like
It's like that
on
moment.
what to do.
It's like that moment in Love Actually. And if you could just fondle the breasts.
Yes. Yes. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh.
Some producer sitting in the background going, oh yeah, just caress her a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was a nightmare
that's going on in my mind.
motorway.
Oh, I picture that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's funny.